Silence. The entire studio is still. The cameras are still rolling. The audience holds its breath. No one knows what to say. No one knows how to react. In front of millions of viewers, a journalist has just made the biggest mistake of her career. She thought she had everything under control. She thought she could humiliate Clint Eastwood live on air. But what just happened? No one saw it coming. And now, let's rewind to the beginning. Because to understand this moment, we need to understand everything that came before. Just one thing before we dive in. Tell us in the comments, where in the world are you listening from? We love seeing how far these stories reach. And if this already has your attention, tap that like button and hit subscribe. It only takes a second, but it means everything to us. Now, close your eyes. And listen carefully. Silence. Lights on. Microphones live. The interview is about to start. On one side, Clint Eastwood, 94 years old. A living icon. A man who's lived through entire eras without ever changing who he is. On the other, Samantha Carter, journalist, 38 years old. Known for her blunt, no-filter style. To her, every interview is a battle. And tonight, in front of millions of viewers, she believes she can win this one too. But she's made a mistake. A mistake that's about to change everything. Samantha adjusts herself in her chair. She crosses her legs with a deliberate motion. Her face is calm, her smile measured to perfection. She knows what she's about to say. She's rehearsed it, studied it. This isn't just any interview. It's an opportunity. Across from her, Clint Eastwood. A man who needs no introduction. A man who's built an entire career on strong, silent, resolute characters. And Samantha Carter wants to prove that those men belong to the past. She shuffles her notes on the table and takes a breath. Then, she strikes. Clint, it's an honor to have you here with us tonight. Eastwood gives a slight nod. His expression doesn't change. He settles into his chair calmly, as if he's at home. His voice is low, gravelly, but relaxed. Pleasure's mine. Silence. A silence that feels longer than it should. Samantha smiles. The cameras capture every detail. The audience waits. And she knows exactly how to fill that silence. You've had an incredible career. Actor, director, producer. You've shaped entire generations with your films. She pauses for a moment, then tilts her head slightly. But tonight, I'd like to ask you something different. Eastwood doesn't respond right away. He waits. Samantha presses on. When you started out, the world was a very different place. Hollywood was dominated by a certain type of man. Tough men. Men who weren't afraid to make hard decisions. Men who didn't apologize for who they were. She pauses, then leans forward just a little. But the world's changed, don't you think? Clint Eastwood looks at her. He doesn't smile. The world's always changing. Samantha crosses her legs again. She runs a hand through her hair with a casual gesture. She knows she's in control. She knows she's led him exactly where she wanted. Yeah. And what about men? Clint doesn't answer. Samantha jumps back in, leaving no room for silence. It's not just the world that's changing. It's society. The very concept of masculinity has shifted. Men today aren't like they used to be. And a lot of people would say that's a good thing. The audience is locked in. Samantha pauses. Then, with a half smile, she delivers the question she's been waiting to ask from the start. Clint, honestly, do you think Hollywood's finally moved past that old model of man? That strong, decisive guy who doesn't apologize? Don't you think that figure's outdated now? Silence. The audience holds its breath. But Clint Eastwood, he's in no rush. He leans back in his chair, takes a sip of water, and looks at the journalist without saying a word. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. The tension in the studio is palpable. Samantha flashes a faint smile, but her fingers tap lightly on the table. Then, finally, Eastwood sets his glass down and speaks. His voice is low, steady, but every word lands like a boulder. Tell me something, Samantha. The journalist looks at him, intrigued. If someone breaks into your house in the middle of the night, do you want a poet or a protector? Silence. No one moves. For a moment, there's not even a sound from the audience. Samantha Carter stares at him. She searches for the right response. Then she smiles. A light, forced smile. Clint, that's a false equivalence. The world isn't an old western anymore. Someone in the audience chuckles. But Eastwood doesn't smile. His gaze is steady. His voice drops even lower. No, Samantha. The world's not an old western. Pause. Slow. Heavy. But you know the difference. Silence. In an old western, at least you knew who the good guys and bad guys were. Samantha says nothing. Someone in the audience claps. Others exchange uncertain glances. Samantha shifts slightly in her chair. That wasn't the answer she expected. For the first time, the dynamic is shifting. And Clint Eastwood has just taken control of the interview. Silence. Samantha Carter crosses her arms and shifts her weight in her chair. She's looking for a new angle. She knows she needs to regain control. The interview isn't going how she planned. It was supposed to be simple. It was supposed to be just an old actor, out of touch with the times. But something's not working. The audience isn't laughing like they should be. And she knows it. She clears her throat, smiles as if nothing's wrong, and then starts again. Clint, I get your perspective. She makes a small gesture with her hand, as if to brush off the tension. But let's be honest. Today's world doesn't need men who solve everything with force anymore. Society evolves. And with it, so do our role models. Pause. Clint watches her. He says nothing. Samantha continues. You built your career on characters who impose their will. Tough guys who don't hesitate to use violence if they have to. But today? She stops for a moment, then smiles. Today, we know we can solve problems differently. A faint murmur ripples through the audience. Some nod. Others don't. Samantha notices. She adjusts her jacket, straightens her posture, and then goes straight for it. Tell me the truth, Clint. Pause. Her tone sharpens. More direct. Don't you think your model of man is outdated? The audience leans forward slightly. They're waiting for the answer. Clint Eastwood doesn't move. His expression doesn't change. He takes his time. Then, with a steady voice, he responds. My model of man. Pause. His voice is calm. But there's something beneath it. Something deeper. Something undeniable. My model of man is the one who builds. Who protects. Who takes responsibility. Samantha tilts her head. She's about to say something, but Clint keeps going. My model of man is the one who does the dirty work, while others sit back and criticize. Pause. The audience is silent. Samantha Carter isn't smiling anymore. Clint looks her straight in the eye. Then he adds the final line. If you think that kind of man is outdated, try living a day without him. Silence. The entire studio freezes. Samantha looks away for a split second. Just a split second. But it's enough. Because the audience saw it. And the difference is clear. Clint Eastwood isn't playing games. He's just telling the truth. And the truth carries more weight than any argument. Samantha shifts in her chair. Her plan is crumbling, and she knows it. But she can't give up. Not now. She brushes her hair back, takes a deep breath, and decides to make one last move. One final attack. But what she's about to say will mark the end of her career. Samantha Carter crosses her legs, leans back in her chair, and takes a deep breath. She can't give up. She can't let Clint Eastwood take over the interview. She won't allow it. No. This is her chance. And if she wants to win, she has to strike. The smile returns. Her voice softens, more persuasive. You know, Clint, I respect your perspective. Pause. I really do. A brief silence. Then, the blow. But don't you think it's time to make room for the next generation? The audience reacts. Some nod. Others stay quiet. Samantha clasps her hands. I mean it. You've been an icon, Clint. A legend. She emphasizes that last word. Subtle. Sharp. But the world moves on. It changes. Maybe it's time to step aside and let others take the wheel. The audience laughs, but it's not a natural laugh. It's nervous. Samantha notices, but she doesn't stop. Tell me, Clint, don't you think there's a time for everything? Silence. Clint Eastwood looks at her. His gaze is steady. He doesn't move. He doesn't speak. The audience leans forward. They're waiting for the response. They're waiting for the twist. And he knows it. He feels it. And when he speaks, he does so calmly, with a voice that doesn't need to rise to be heard. Funny. Pause. I remember a time when people respected their elders. Samantha stiffens slightly. Clint continues. Instead of trying to replace them. Boom. Silence. Pure, total, deafening silence. In the audience, someone holds their breath. Someone nods slowly. Someone claps. Samantha Carter doesn't know what to say. And for the first time in the entire interview, it shows. She's not sure anymore. She's not in control anymore. And the audience feels it. Because the truth is obvious. Because in a single moment, Clint Eastwood dismantled everything. And she knows it. The studio is silent. The cameras capture every second. Every blink. This moment is about to become legendary. It's about to blow up online. It's about to go viral. But Samantha Carter can't stop now. Because if she does, it means admitting defeat. And she's not ready for that. She has to recover. She has to try one last move. One final shot. But what she's about to say will be her undoing. Samantha Carter breathes in slowly and clears her throat. She has to pull herself together. She has to say something. Anything. But for the first time in her entire career, she can't find the words. The cameras record every moment. The audience is still quiet. Some look thoughtful. Some smile, as if they've just witnessed something extraordinary. Samantha taps her fingers on the table. Then she tries one last time. One final attempt. One desperate shot. Her voice is softer, more controlled. Clint. Pause. Don't you think it's dangerous to cling to the past? Her expression is neutral, but her eyes search the audience for approval. A reaction. Something to tell her she hasn't lost yet. But the response doesn't come. Because by now, it's clear. She's no longer running this interview. Clint Eastwood has already won. And now, he's just waiting for the perfect moment to end it. He adjusts his jacket, tilts his head slightly, and then smiles. A slow, confident smile. And when he speaks, his words cut through the silence of the studio like a gunshot. Wisdom doesn't expire, Samantha. Pause. Only those who think they already know everything ignore it. Silence. Pure silence. Heavy silence. In the studio. In the audience. Everywhere. Samantha Carter opens her mouth, but no sound comes out. There's nothing left to say. The audience is still. Then, a single clap. Just one. But it's enough. Because right after, the entire studio erupts. Applause. Murmurs. Shock. And as Samantha Carter tries to hide her confusion behind a forced smile, the cameras catch every detail. This moment won't stay confined to this room. No. It's about to explode online. It's about to become legendary. And Samantha Carter knows it. Less than an hour later, the video is everywhere. Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. Millions of views in just hours. The headlines are all the same. Clint Eastwood humiliates journalist live on air. Clint Eastwood destroys progressive propaganda. The interview that changed everything. The comments explode. People debate, take sides, argue. But there's one thing everyone agrees on. Clint Eastwood is a legend. And no one can ever challenge that. Days later, a reporter finds Clint Eastwood outside a cafe. He's sipping his coffee, calm, as if nothing happened. The reporter approaches with a microphone. "Mr. Eastwood, do you have anything to say about all this controversy?" Clint takes a sip of coffee, adjusts his jacket, and looks at the reporter. He smiles faintly, then says just one word. "Nope." And walks away. This wasn't just an interview. It wasn't just a debate between a journalist and a legendary actor. It was something more. A moment that sparked a much bigger conversation. We live in an era where old values are being questioned. Where people try to rewrite the past and mock those who built what we have today. But there's a question that keeps echoing. Have we really outgrown those values? Or do we still need them? Strength. Determination. Integrity. Respect. Are they outdated or more relevant than ever? Clint Eastwood didn't raise his voice. He didn't try to force his way. He simply let the truth speak for itself. And now, I want to know what you think. Have you ever felt someone trying to dismiss your experience, your way of seeing the world? Have you ever seen someone brushed off just because they didn't fit the new standards? Share your story in the comments. We read them all. And if you think this video's message matters, give it a like and share it. Maybe someone out there needs to hear these words. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. Thanks for sticking with us to the end. Your support means a lot. And remember, wisdom doesn't expire. Only those who think they already know everything ignore it. See you in the next video.